Hey folks, Randy Go, Trout Magnet Man with you here again today. We're going to do some talk about this graphite leader Finezza Prototype 2017. First impressions. I went fishing yesterday and would have had a fishing video for you where I caught a bunch of 7 and 8 inch bluegill. Got home, went to do the video, no audio. So me and GoPro, we do not get along. Unfortunately, that's the camera I have. And I mean, it just wasn't bad audio, it was just zero audio, nothing. But anyway, I caught plenty of bluegill, and just wanted to give you first impression of this rod. Part of my channel is reviewing JDM gear. This rod, I got it with free shipping, $361, something like that. And the questions I had for myself was, is this rod worth, say, $60, $70 premium or $80 premium over, say, a ticked ice cube rock and finesse? It's a Maberu rod. The rock and finesse is a Maberu rod. And I assumed that this was going to be very similar in action to the ticked ice cube series. Well, it's not. I also assumed it was going to be very similar to a Daiwa Maberu that I bought 5 years ago, action. It wasn't. I also assumed that it would be very similar to a major craft, Sky Road. It wasn't. And while that doesn't really surprise me, I was just kind of shocked. I just had it in my head that they would all be very soft action. This is a very fast rod, but I want you to look at this tip on this rod. I don't want to do it, but I'm a firm believer that I could make this tip go back and touch the blank. It's that soft, but it's an extremely fast action rod, very fast. I mean, it's extremely fast. I was also worried because having the rod in hand is very rigid. It's kind of like an aging rod, but the difference is the tip. An aging rod, of course, has a solid tip, but it's not soft like this tip. I was very worried that, will I be able to catch a bluegill with this rod and have fun? Well, the answer to that is yes, I will. I know that I say all these rods I get are unique, it's different, so on and so forth. Well, here's the thing, folks, they are. I mean, and so you ask yourself the question, okay, what is the difference? Let's just stick with the latest Maberu rod I have. Before this one was the ticked ice cube rock and finesse, which come delivered, I think, right at $290 or $286, something like that. But anyway, let's see what the difference is. Well, first off, the difference is the action. This is a much more rigid rod. It has a larger butt by quite a bit. It has Torzite inserts, which that right there is going to drive the price up 30, 40, $50, something like that. But this rod, is, I heard All Sorts put it out of South Africa. He wasn't talking about this rod, he was talking about another graphite leader rod that he had got, and his assessment of it is very steely. And those are very good words for this rod. This rod is very steely rod. I started out yesterday fishing one lake, and the bluegill are on the bottom. And the problem with the first lake I started out with, what's on the bottom also is a bunch of moss. It's not grass, it's moss. So therefore, that wasn't getting it. You let it get down, you try to skip it across some rocks, so it's going to have moss on it, so then you're starting all over. So I got in the vehicle and went to VFW Lake, and there's no moss on it yet. It's just a clean rocky bottom, and started catching fish. I was really, really surprised at how sensitive the rod is. I was twitching on the bottom, dragging this across the bottom. You could feel the fish when they would hit it, just dead on. I mean, it was just like a lightning bolt in your hand. And you could also feel it when if you twitched it up and you let it lay there, when they picked it up out of the rocks. I was very surprised at the sensitivity. I mean, when I say surprised, I keep asking myself, okay, you're spending money, and what are you going to get for this extra money? How far does it go? Where do you say enough is enough, or where do you say no, it can't be any better than what I've already had? And I don't know the answer to that question. Graphite Leader sells some rods, $600, $700, $800, even $1,000. Now I'm not going to be buying a $1,000 rod. I can assure you of that. If I had the money, I would, but I don't have that kind of money, especially you're prone to break one of these. $370, $380, $400 is about my limit on a rod. But here's the funny thing about these Japanese rods. I've been doing this now, it's been just a little over 5 years. And what I found is every time I go up in price, I find that the quality of the rod is just that much better. When I say quality, I'm talking about fishability, sensitivity, fit and finish, and the build. And while we're on that, the build of this rod is just simply impeccable. All right, folks, we're going to try to show the aesthetics of this 17 Finezza Prototype, 6'10" ultralight. It's an absolutely gorgeous rod. I don't know how good this is going to come out on the video. It's an absolutely beautiful rod. You can see the fine tip there, solid tip. Has a TVS reel seat. It's very sensitive. Beautiful winding checks. I haven't taken the labels off the rod yet. I usually take those off, but haven't taken them off yet. It's just a gorgeous rod all the way around. Just absolutely beautiful. And it's not that the build of the tick is bad. It's not bad. It's good. But the build of this Graphite Leader is, I mean, you can't find anything wrong with it at all. Nothing wrong with it at all. I was looking earlier at one of my Yamaha Blanks rods, and I was looking at the stripper guide, looking at the lacquer. And you can see some overruns on the lacquer with the Yamaha Blanks, which it's a great rod. It's built fantastic. You know, it's made in Japan. But it is this rod here, you have to hold one of these, you have to see one of these to appreciate it for what it is. So it's going to require a lot more fishing. Our lakes are blown out, as I'm sure y'all have heard me say on a couple of past videos. As soon as I can get the water levels get down, and it's going back down to 18 degrees this weekend here, I think, I'll get back out fishing. I'm really anxious to try this. Now, one of the good things about this rod, I'll be able to fish this rod for crappie. There's no problem. With this tip, you're gonna have a ball fishing for crappie with this rod. But I won't be afraid to take this rod to Dale Hollow to go fishing for bluegill, knowing that I'm probably going to catch, maybe on some days, as many smallmouth as I'm going to catch bluegill, especially in the spring of the year. This rod can handle it, yet it can give you fun with the bluegill. To describe the sensitivity of this rod, you know, and I'm comparing it to the Ticked Ice Cube series because they're extremely sensitive rods. It's a completely different feel in this rod. It's a different feel in this rod than it is with, say, the Yamaha Blanks Blue Current, which is an aging rod. There's a different feel in this rod than what it is with the Lunakai 2018 hybrid light game rod. You know, I guess, you know, Graphite Leader has a reputation as probably one of the best manufacturers of rods in Japan, and I'd say that reputation is deserved. I know that it certainly makes me want to look at more of their products. I've got my eye on a Graphite Leader Super Bellezza or the Bellezza, either one. And you know, because you're like, okay, if you're going to spend the money, you might as well get the best for that money that there is. And this goes back to the 2018 Corto I got, which I had delivered for $221, I think it was. It's far superior to some other aging rods I have that I paid $280, $290 for. I don't want to say this rod is superior to the Ticked Ice Cube series, simply because it's a completely different rod. You know, you can't, I went out to compare the two, but you can't compare the two because they're not the same rods. Yes, they're both Maberu rods, but they're not the same. The Ticked has no rating on it, whether it's light, ultralight, so on and so forth. This does have an ultralight rating on it, and it's a more robust rod than the Tick series of Ice Cube rods are, that's for sure. Now, I do not have the Ticked Ice Cube power rod, so I'm thinking maybe the power rod, because I have the Ticked Ice Cube Rock and Drift, it's a very soft rod. Then I have the Rock and Finesse, which it's somewhat soft, but not as soft as the Drift. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Ticked Ice Cube power rod is going to be more like this rod. But anyway, I'm very happy with this rod to date. I was wondering, had I spent $60 or $70 more than what I needed to spend to get the same fishability, the same fun factor, and the same sensitivity? And the answer to that is no. I didn't throw away my money. It's worth the money. And if you're the person who you really want to have the best of the best, and you're looking for a Beirut rod, now they have one better than this. I will not be buying it either. It's the Super Finezza. But I can only imagine what it would be like to fish with it. The blank on this rod, it's got some pretty high-tech stuff in it. You can read about it on the Olympic website, which I'll leave a link to there. You can go read about the blank. But this stuff is it's definitely high-tech, and it's definitely a different feel than the other rods I have. And the best word I can use to describe it is the same words my cohort in the JDM line of rods down in South Africa describes. It's very steely. It's extremely steely. As a matter of fact, I think if you remember when I did the unboxing of this rod, looking at the blank with this 4-way cross-axis wrap, I guess it is, they call it, G-maps, it looks like the rod has rebar in it, miniature rebar. And maybe that's what accounts for that, but it's a very unique rod, and I'm happy I bought it. I certainly will not be getting rid of it. And as soon as the water goes down, the weather's okay. As soon as the water goes down, I will be getting out there to catch some white bass, some bluegill, whatever's biting, to just thoroughly test this rod out. And next time I go fishing, I hope the audio's working. I hope I can get the fishing videos posted. Solar lip 'em all, and life is good.